The Coffee Hour. Welcome to Coffee with our morning host. We broadcast a host of programs like current topics, newspaper headlines, and music on Radio Sri Lanka. Tune in every weekday from 7 to 8 a.m.
This Tuesday morning, and I have with me in the studio, I'm going to share the studio and the mic with the Assistant Superintendent of Police, Fedrick Woodland, who is also the Assistant Director of the Police Media Division, who also holds an LLB and a Master's degree in Human Rights. A very good morning to ASP Fedrick Woodland.
A very good morning to Saundi.
And thank you very much for accepting our invitation and starting your day with us. All right, and on Sunday, the 3rd of September, Sri Lanka celebrated the 157th Police Day. Talking of 157 years, it means that it is a history worth knowing about. Can you tell us how it was first established and down the years, the history of the Sri Lanka Police Force?
Okay, Saundi, let me first take this opportunity to thank the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation for inviting me and to represent the Sri Lanka Police. Yeah, we were talking about the police history, and as you very correctly pointed out, we are celebrating the 157th police year. The month of September gives a special significance to the Sri Lanka Police because every year, the 3rd of September is commemorated or rather celebrated the Police Day. When you talk about the history of the police, Saundi, it moves on to the British era, where Sir Robert Peel is said to be the founder of the British police, and we, the Sri Lankan police, did inherit a British policing system into this country. And in the year 1866, 3rd of September, the Englishman G.W.R. Campbell, that is George Wilson Robinson Campbell, was the first Inspector General of Police in Sri Lanka, who was an Englishman. And this day marks on 3rd September, and we still memorize or rather celebrate the 3rd September as the Police Day. So, for the last 157 years, we have been with 35 leaders as the Inspectors General, and the current Inspector General is the 35th IGP, and Mr. C.D. Vikramatne holds this position. And also, the first Sri Lankan Inspector General was Richard Alvihare, who was appointed on the 6th of January in 1947. So the police force did start with the strength of 165 police personnel, and now we have moved on to around 100,000 Saundi. So it's a area that we have come across, and all 25 public administrative districts are covered by 607 police stations, and along with 45 territorial divisions. You mean territorial in the sense in the area. There is the territory, there are 45 divisions, and also 80 functional divisions, which covers the entire police system to see that law and order is being maintained. So I would say this, when Sir Robert Peel, when he established the policing system in London, he said the police is the public and public is the police. So we here today are making our level best to give the fullest support and courage and assistance to the general public to see that they will live in a very peaceful society.
And also to ensure, apart from your other duties, ASP Woodland, that law and order is also maintained. Now, when you say the transitioning took place from the British colonial era to the Sri Lankan police system, and with Sir Richard Alvihare being invested as the first Sri Lankan Inspector General of Police, I guess there would have been a transition also of the way the police department enacted its duties, like coming to after it was taken over with the Sri Lankan force. Was there a marked change, and what were the changes that were brought in perhaps at that time which still continue up to date?
Yeah. So first of all, with the appointment of Sir Richard Alvihari, the first thing was adopting the Buddhist words of wisdom to the Sri Lankan policing motto.
Right.
And it was, you may have heard this, you call it in Sinhala, Dhammo Have Rakkati Dhammachari. So that is, you could say, one who lives with Dhamma will be protected by Dhamma.
Right.
So that was the initiative by the first appointment of the Sri Lankan the police Inspector General of Police. And then, in addition to the general policing activities, Saundi, it is, we would emphasize that the public is expecting us on more than the policing work, other than areas to be covered, such as liquor, narcotics, and protection of forests, and also the coastal conservation, wildlife conservation, illegal sand mining, though separate government bodies do implement these laws. So the police, from the year 1947 with the new Inspector General of Police, we have well developed with the current strength, and out of these 100,000 police personnel, there are 9,700 women cadre, and working together to see that the Sri Lankan policing system is well established.
And if I may ask you, ASP, when the females entered, because for a very long time, I guess the police force had been male-dominated. So by when did the females have a chance of entering the force?
It was the first women constable was Madam Divakara. And I recall in the year 60s.
All right.
Yeah, and she started her life as an apprentice, as a recruit woman constable, and she did rise up to the rank of senior superintendent of police. And currently, Saundi, there are 4 deputy inspectors general, as in the women cadre, and altogether it's around 9,732 women are running the show of the police department.
So just as in any other field, in the police force field as well, we see equity and equality of gender, isn't it?
Yes, we do. And especially some of the police stations are run by the women cadre, and most of the directors, the director posts are given to the women cadre, and most of prosecution matters also been entrusted with the women. So it's like, as you very correctly pointed out, it's the gender equity is always there, and the women cadre are very happy to work within the policing system, and they have come up with very positive gestures to the department.
And with me in the studio is the Assistant Superintendent of Police, Fedrick Woodland, on matters regarding the Sri Lanka police force. Well, ASP Woodland, talking of a telephone number which is synonymous with the police emergency 119, there are mixed opinions, mixed variations, mixed reactions of people who try to call or get through on this number 119. What are your views, and can you tell us something about it?
Yeah, Sound, it's a good approach that you did come across, because we do appear that the 119 police emergency is been well recognized by most of the society, but at times, of course, there are ups and downs in the system. And I just want to give a message to the general public how to use this. The 119 police emergency was established in the year 2004, and next year it will be almost 20 years. So this is a round-the-clock service given by the police, and to see that the civil rights of the public are being well maintained and well taken care of. So any kind of emergency, any requirement by the public, or any situation, the people, the society are now used to address the 119 emergency line. Now, Soundhi, there are about 2,500 or 3,000 calls a day at this 119 emergency. So it's a huge stock.
Yes.
But however, the police are ready to take up this challenge. And there are 16 locations island-wide to receive all these calls, and will be given to the respective police station to see to the requirement. Now, there are 3 areas that we do receive these telephone messages. Now, we have categorized into one as urgent messages and non-urgent messages and the confidential messages. So any citizen of this country would take their time and give a message as an urgent or a non-urgent or important or a confidential message. Only what I would wish to emphasize on the sub-public is it appears that some of the public do misuse this 119 emergency. There had been instances where some of the public have just called the 119 on bogus information, and also to mislead the police, and also on malicious ideas to come out for their happiness. So some are trying to make it as a joke, as the 119 message, and we would emphasize the public and say all 119 messages are being recorded.
Right.
And it has been now closely analyzed, and we have it is known that some of these messages are false, and we will take very stern legal action against the wrongdoers who will take this 119 emergency on the bad way. And also, Soundhi, if a person at a time of a death, at a time of a murder, at a time of a criminal activity, whatever important areas, if this 119 been misused, we will not be able to handle that matter early. So our police people will be dealt in an unwanted or we could say a useless information. We will attend to that, whilst the important areas will not be attended.
That's right.
So misusing this privilege will take the society into book, and also legal matters will be taken against you. And also the society. I just mentioned about the messages on confidential.
Yes.
Now, since all these messages are well recorded, you should not be afraid that these messages or information or intelligence will be spread out. No, it's not going to happen. A message or a recording will be given only on a directive given by a court of law.
Right.
So the public will keep confidence, and you can inform on this 119 saying that it is going to be confidential. Please record this information and confidential. You could give this information on child abuse, on child exploitation, on narcotics, on any other issue, on murders, on organized crime, any matter. You can use this for the betterment of the society and not for unwanted things.
And when you mention ASP as a confidential message, but at the end of it, the caller obviously has to give in their name, am I correct? Or can that...
No, at times the 119 we may request the name and the authenticity of the caller,
right.
But there is no need to give the name and everything,
right,
because the number is there.
Okay.
Number is there. If it is from a box, also we could always trace from where the caller has come out.
Right.
So there is no need of giving the name and the address of the caller.
So it will be on a basis, as you say, of confidentiality and anonymity, but actual information and real information provided to the police to act on.
Very true. That's correct.
Right. Also, ASP Fedrick, all Sri Lankan citizens at some point or the other require police clearance, are required to produce a police clearance, be it for local purposes or overseas requirements. Can you tell us what the structure is of the police clearance and how easy or how difficult it is for one to obtain it?
All right. Saundi, the police clearance is section, or rather the office was established in the year 1979. So this is one of the main areas of services of the police for the public.
Right.
So what happens, the police clearance we have categorized into two areas, that is the locally issued police clearance and internationally, for international purposes.
Right.
And a person who wishes to have a local police clearance, he could just go up to the police station, meet the respective OIC and say, look, sir, I've been invited or rather called for an interview on this organization, and may I have a police clearance report?
All right.
Then he would say, yes, we would wish to have your national identity card or passport, and also a letter from the Grama Sevaka, and also the letter from the respective organization saying that we are looking forward for a police report from Mr. X. Then what happens, Saundi, the police will initiate an inquiry. We would see whether this applicant is involved in crime, whether his past records are criminal records, and then after an inquiry by an inspector of the respective police station, we will issue the police clearance locally. And the second option is on international matters, where the people who leave the country on overseas tours, jobs, opportunities, or for any scholarships or whatever, the people or the society, the respective organization in overseas may require a police report. In this context, Saundi, the applicants are hereby advised to apply online.
Right.
www.police.lk. I repeat again, www.police.lk.
Right.
Will be the website for you to apply online. When you open this page, you will come across a directive given by all three languages. Read it carefully, go through carefully, and fill your form and submit your form. Now there again, we do confront some of the applicants may call us and say, look sir, we did submit our application, but there was a delay of more than 14 days now. Okay. The reason for that, there are a few reasons. Number one, some applicants, Saundi, may live in different or may have lived in different police areas.
Right.
So the police will have to get the information from all those three police stations. Number one. Number two, at times there are past criminal bad records of such applicants. Then the police or the police clearance will give this application to the CID, that is the Criminal Investigation Department, and the TID, that the Terrorism Investigation Department, and the NIC, the National Identity Card Organization,
Right.
and also the Immigration and Immigration. So all these areas are covered and well scrutinized, and then only your application is given, or rather the clearance is given. So bear in mind, the public will have to give very correct information. If the information is not correct, your application will be delayed. So, and also, the police will always have all these records. Once, if there is a failure or is it a delay in giving you the submission, you can reapply, and the first amount of this application form amount is rupees 4,000. So the police are very, from the year 1979, these services have been given to the public. For a day, we get about 700 to 800 applications island-wide. So it's not going to be an easy task. It's hard, but we are working for the betterment of the society and see that a perfect and accurate report is given. And also bear in mind, the public should bear in mind that if we give a false message or a report to an overseas company, this may detriment the image of the Sri Lankan police and also detriment the image of the Sri Lanka.
Absolutely.
So, therefore, Soundeep, we would wish to give a directive to the people of the society and to give us accurate information when submitting your application to the 119.
So basically, ASP, if there is a clean slate, the report will come within the stipulated time, but if there are nitty-gritties and the applicant has been involved or caused to have been involved in some maybe crime or something else, then it would take time because all that has to be looked in through before the report is given.
Yes, 14 days is the maximum days.
Right.
And as you very correctly pointed out, if those things do come up, if we do confront, and of course it will be a delay.
Right, so I suppose at the time of application, now since you've explained, so those applying too will know what to expect. If it is all okay, then the quicker time it is, but then if there is something that the police need to look into and scrutinize, then it will take a little longer.
You're correct, Soundeep.
Talking of the regular duties of the Sri Lanka police force, apart from the regular duties, what are some of the other duties that they are involved in?
Yeah, Soundeep, we as police officers, we are governed by the police ordinance, and we do have obligation responsibilities under the police ordinance.
Right.
So in addition to the general policing activities, as I pointed out before, the public do expect us more, like on narcotics, on forest and illegal sand mining, and on coastal conservation. So due to all these issues, the current Inspector General Police, Mr. C.D. Vikramatha, with his intervention, the Criminal Investigation Department was categorized or rather separated into 5 areas for the betterment of the society.
Right.
Now, these areas are like, it's for money laundering division and establishing an illegal assets division, the fraud bureau, and homicide and organized crimes, and human smuggling.
Right.
So now each of these divisions are working very hard to see that the law is being maintained in the country. So we as the policemen, we would wish, and especially Soundeep, I would wish to inform you about these child and women issues.
Right.
I would mention now at a police station, every police station there is a area for children.
Right.
In this section there is a mother who is the curator or the in charge of this section. Any mother and father who is going to listen to this presentation, if your child has a different opinion, the way he or she behaves, if there is a change of behavior, if there is a change of the way he or she talks, and if you feel there's something wrong with the child, you please proceed to the nearest police station and meet the OIC and speak to the mother who is in charge of the child protection unit and explain your matters. You know, there are child abuse matters and child exploitation things that come out in the country. So the police are always very keen on the child. Now, Soundeep, today the 5th of September, coming days, we will mention a day for the Children's Day.
Yes.
And you talk about the Universal Day for Children. But we do strongly believe that there should not be a date, and every day is a day for the children. So the police at this juncture, since we experience a lot of issues against children are being recorded at police stations, and we will have to keep a stop for these children's matters. And in this context, the police will interview the child, very secretly, very carefully, and he or she may be dealt with in a very private way, and see that what has gone wrong with her or she, and attend to the requirements of the child.
Right, so that's a kind of service that is being rendered by the police force.
Very true, Soundi.
And anything else you would like to add, ASP, in our concluding moments?
Soundi, we, the police, represent the executive of the country, and we as citizens of this country, we should know the law. And there is a presumption that everybody has to know the law. So it's a maxim. So the message is to the entire society, you can't say that, I never knew about the law. I forgot about the law. I never thought about the gravity of this mistake that I have done. No, you cannot say that. Everybody has to know the law, and he or she or the citizen should abide by the laws of the country. And I would refer Article 21 of the Supreme Law, 28 of the Supreme Law, the fundamental duties of the citizens. It very clearly says, Soundi, to uphold and defend the Constitution and the law of the country is one most important things. And to further the national interest and foster national unity. And to work consciously to his chosen occupation. And also to preserve and protect public property. I reiterate once again, to preserve and protect public property, and to combat misuse and waste of public property, and also to respect rights and freedoms of others. So we as police officers are ready with all these challenges to serve the public, and to see a very peaceful the society to come up. And so I strongly believe that I have left a message with the society with regard to the child protection and also the fundamental duties of the citizen. And we, the police, are ready to take up these challenges and to work for the betterment of the society.
And we have been discussing all this while, ASP Fedrick, the duties and the things that the police carry out as their routine work. But, of course, just as in any field, in any career, there will be limitations and challenges as well. So what are a few of the limitations that you're coming to contact with in a practical way, maybe on a daily basis, that sometimes hinders the duty that needs to be carried out?
Yeah, limitations in the sense, Soundi, it's law. Once again, it's the law. Now the law is categorized into two areas. You talk about the substantive laws and the procedural laws. So we, the police, are ready to proceed with the procedural law. And if Mr. X commits an offense under the law, there is no way that we will see on the other side. We will have to see that the culprit has to be brought before book. So there are no limitations. Of course, right now, Soundi, of course, that's a good point that you did come out. And, the policing system, there are the two areas, transitional system and the community policing system. Since I recall once again how Mr. Sir Robert Peel said, the police are the public and public are the police.
Right.
So what the police is currently engaged and planning is to see that we would wish to get close to the society and to win the public confidence. So this is the reason that we have engaged in a lot of community policing activities. Now this time, Soundi, on the 157th anniversary, most of the territorial division police personnel were into activities on social activities.
Right.
And we were supporting the people, supporting the citizens, and looking for their grievances. So a time has come to get more closer to the public to win confidence.
It has been a privilege talking to you, and thank you very much for joining us this morning on Coffee Hour. We have been in conversation with the Assistant Superintendent of Police, Fedrick Woodland, who is also the Assistant Director of the Police Media Division, who holds an LLB and a master's degree in human rights. Well, thank you very much, ASP, for taking the time off day and for starting your day with us on Coffee Morning. And together with our producer, Indira Navagamu, may I thank you very much and wish you a lovely Tuesday ahead.
I thank you, Soundy, once again for inviting the Sri Lanka Police. Thank you.
The Coffee Hour. Welcome to Coffee with our morning host. We broadcast a host of programs like current topics, newspaper headlines, and music on Radio Sri Lanka. Tune in every weekday from 7 to 8 a.m.